Words, we have powerful minds. We use our voices and freedom takes flight. And we're ready. Hey guys, welcome. Attention of the show. And so again, we have an amazing lineup for you today. My first guest is a spoken word artist. Her name is Khadijah Ali-Coleman. I'm pronouncing that correctly because I can jack up some names. Y'all know it. Y'all know I can. And let me tell you a little bit more about her. So they call her a mama artist. She's a master teacher and a social activist. She's the founder of the multidisciplinary arts collective called Liberated Muse Arts and a 2015 Maryland State Arts Council Individual Artist Awardee. She's a singer, she's a songwriter, a playwright, and emerging visual artist. She uses poetry to express, ignite, and educate. She is editor of 3 Liberated Muse book anthologies of creative writing and visual art from creatives around the world. And, this is exciting, released her debut CD titled Song of a Space Cadet in 2016. She has performed at the Apollo Theater, debuted one of her plays at the Kennedy Center, and been featured at more than a half dozen festivals. Can you say bad mama jamma? Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's so good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
So you are multi-talented.
I think I am.
You are. Yes, I think we know you are. How did you find that this was your gift? That using the power of visual arts and writing and bringing to life words through song and poetry. How did you find that that was your gifting?
Well, I realized very early on that I just have a need to express, a need to be able to share with others how I interpret the world, and for the most part I do that as a writer. But as a writer, I learned that there are different mediums that you can really share your messages, and whether it's through a play, whether it's through a film, whether it's through a song. And so just even as a child, I was always trying to gather my friends to do like a play for no one, or writing stories, really things. I did that a lot being unencouraged, or it not having to be for a school assignment or my mother sending me to my room to do it. It was something that I just naturally wanted to do. But it was always done with other messages I'm receiving saying that's a hobby, or that's not something to be taken seriously. And it wasn't until I really became an adult that I learned that a lot of that we can manifest what it is that we do in the world, whether it's we want to do it professionally, whether we have a passion and it's a hobby and we want to devote a certain amount of time, that doesn't diminish its importance to us. And so, I spend a lot of time fielding questions from folks. Do you get paid for that? Are you doing that? How much did someone hire you to do? And for me, that's irrelevant, because everything that I do is because it's a part of who I am. So.
I love your courage in saying, this is my gift and I'm going to absolutely use the gift. So were there any points in time where you felt thwarted away from your gift, and maybe it seemed like, I want to do this, but am I qualified to do this? So did fear ever show up in the conversation?
Right now, and what I think more of my life has been being fearful of showing up and being fully who I am, because there's so many people who either try to deter you to be in this one thing. One thing that I experience a lot is I enjoy doing many things. That is just my nature. I'm a multitasker. I like doing things, and I even majored in college in interdisciplinary studies, so I see a lot of connections between genres, between cultures. I see how things connect. I see the common thread between things that may seem unrelated. And so that's why I do many things, is because I'm always just connecting. And for a lot of people, that seems to be, you hear the jack of all trades, Jill of all trades, and that's usually disparaging, that if you do a lot of things, then you can't be good in one thing. And that hasn't, the one thing that I'm good at is being able to navigate different spaces and to do many things. That's what I do. And so when you ask about challenges or fears, I'm very fearful sometimes when I walk into a space, whether I'm working at a job or working with people or a team, is how I'll be judged and how that will work against me, because it's still counter to what prevails in society in terms of being good at many things. Folks just don't believe that that's possible. And so it's like so basically invalidating me as a person because you say it's not possible, but that's who I am.
I absolutely agree with you that people can be a master over many things. So I like that you've given yourself permission.
It's about doing the work too.
Yeah, doing the work, yeah.
And it also, as an educator, it's also about what our learning strategies are, how we approach things. You know, everyone is not the same. How we absorb, how we, and for me, I am visual and an audio learner, kinesthetic as well. And so I'm really quick. Like, someone can show me something and I can quickly pick it up. Certain things, there's certain things that are not so quick. My mother was a mathematician, so math was not very easy for me, but I love learning about math and science. And so that's how I learn, is how can word problems, things through language. So again, our learning styles are different. Yeah. So it's so disappointing a lot of times to have people really try to encapsulate what I'm capable of doing because they know what they're capable of and to project that on me. And
talk about the Apollo. How did you make your way to the Apollo? Like, how did that happen?
That was so long ago. I was part of just a group of singers here in Prince George's County, Maryland, who we did karaoke, open mics, and things like that, and just part of just a really rich network of folks. And it was like a caravan of people going to the Apollo. And so we went there. So they had the show going on, but they also, the Apollo had weekly amateur nights on Wednesdays, and when you could actually win money. And so I won one Wednesday that we went, and then I was years later, I was invited. I did an audition at Howard University, and I made it onto the show. And that was very funny. Fun and funny. The person who won was dressed up like Bill Clinton and sang Shaggy's. It wasn't me.
So what did that experience do for you? What did it awaken something in you? Did it spark something like, oh, I'm really going for it, or were you already in that space?
No, it was fun. A lot of my work that I do is really conscious art. Like, I'm really focused on transforming space. That's actually the tagline of Liberated Muse, transforming spaces into arts places. I have had some wonderful opportunities, but a lot of the work that I do is really centering the voices of Black women in particular, Black people in general, in spaces where, and to be able to discuss things that are impacting us politically and socially. And so that's the work that I do as an educator as well. I teach communication studies. I'm a college professor. And I homeschool my daughter. So it's a lot of stuff that I'm doing, and arts allows me to really, it's a tool that I'm able to create these spaces.
Awesome. And so then let's talk about this play that you did at the Kennedy Center.
That was fun.
You've used the word fun a couple times.
Yeah, well, that's what it's about for me. The experiences have to be something, for me to continue to do this, it has to be enjoyable. We do so many things as people. I've done so many things. Oh, I'm touching. What is this? We do so many things. I know that I am breaking out. I'm in my 40s now, and it's really about doing things that I enjoy, knowing what it is that I enjoy. And I was invited. It's this young theater company called Too Much Damn Theater, and they were invited to the Kennedy Center's Page to Stage festival that happens annually in late summer, right before fall hits. And they were doing an up-all-night musical where you had to write a musical in 48 hours and then stage it.
Wow.
At the Kennedy Center. So I was like, yes, because I like challenges.
That's me, yeah.
Yes. And so Liberated Muse Arts, we do theater, mostly theater and music. And so I grabbed my girls, and they were down. I was really excited about that. And so I wrote this 10-minute, so it was a short play.
Yeah.
So 10-minute play, couldn't be longer than 10 minutes. And it was called Miss Trudy's Birthday. And we won. We won all of the audience awards. It was so much fun. So actually, we got invited by the Kennedy Center to be part of the Pages stage this fall as Liberated Muse. And so I have to write that piece that we're going to stage there. But Yeah, it was so much fun.
That's fantastic. I mean, that just reminds me of the saying that, you know, your gifts will make room for you. And I feel like that's what has happened in your journey. It's definitely what's happened in my journey.
Yeah.
When you give yourself permission and you show up.
So you asked me about the Apollo, that inspired me. But the Up All Night musical inspired me to, like, I got all cocky, like, oh, I can do this in 48 hours. So I did the 48-hour film project, like a month after that in October, and we had to do a horror movie, and we did. We presented we put together a film called Bracelet, and we were nominated for Best Score, and that was fun. And we did it again this past about 3 weeks ago. So that is like. I like that. Like, I like creating on the spur, like impromptu. Yeah. Like, I love that.
Yeah, and again, it goes back to what you said earlier, which is you got to know yourself.
Yes.
And you have to know what fuels you, what makes you feel amazing, what gives you that sense of joy and fun and fulfillment. One of the things I always say in my business is you cannot rob me of my joy.
Right.
Like, I can't take on anything in business that steals joy from me because I worked in a corporate space for 15 years and had no joy. Like, no joy. Like, I did it because I knew how to do it. It earned me a paycheck. I could pay my bills, but there was no joy. So now one of the parts of my business is, so for instance, before I take on clients, I have to have a session with them. Like some session either by video or by phone to find out, is there a synergy? Am I really the right fit for you? Are you the right fit for me? Yeah, that vibe.